Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden, the beautiful, the sagely, the amazing gentleman right over here. His name is Tim, and thank you for stopping by. This is the Second Legacy, and we are on a mission to pass the Second Amendment along to the next generation, and thank you for stopping by. But today, my brothers and sisters, we have got to talk about Gavin's new 28th Amendment. There are so many ins, so many outs. There's chances of snowballs in hell. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to break it down right now. So before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. That way, you can help us spread freedom across this amazing nation. But with that, let's dive in. Tim, how are you doing? Are you ready for this? We've got 28 coming.
I am so ready for this.
Are you sure? Because this is high level. This is high level Gav.
It's not every day we get to talk about really important things like this.
Tim, I'm glad you're ready. I'm glad you're on it. Because the Gavster, the hair gel import himself for California, has got some great stuff. But before we get into the actual announcement, I'm just going to set the table real quick, Tim. Mr. Producer, could you hit number 1 for me?
But how did he get a gun that's illegal in the state of California?
We'll figure it out. That's going to happen.
Well, Tim, how is that possible? Before we even get into the announcement, how could Gavin be there saying to Norah O'Donnell that it's just going to happen with a shoulder shrug? Does that make sense in California?
No, of course not. But then nothing this man says generally makes sense.
But he's got a lot of hair gel and he smiles good. That means he's automatically qualified, right?
Yeah. It's going to be a runoff between him and Mitt Romney, I think, this election cycle. The hair guys.
Ooh. Battle of the hair gel.
Yeah.
Maybe we got a sleeper candidate. What was that guy from Illinois? Blagojevich?
Is he out of jail yet? Oh, that's right.
I don't know. Maybe. You never know. He could pull a Nelson Mandela.
Because the typical cycle of Illinois governors is, do 4 years in government, then you do 4 years or more in prison, and then you go and do talk shows. So
that's actually true.
it is true.
So Pritzker's he's due. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's due for a prison sentence. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's another Illinois governor. But you know what? We're getting on a tangent right now, Tim, which we tend to do sometimes. Let's get back.
Yes.
To the meat, to the juicy center of Gav's new 28th Amendment of the United States. First, let's introduce it, and then we are going to tear this apart, and I am amped. Mr. Producer, could you start us off with number 2, please?
In this country, we do have the power to change things, to reclaim our freedom from fear. Our ability to make a more perfect union is literally written into the Constitution. So today, I'm proposing the 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution to do just that. The 28th Amendment permanently enshrines 4 additions to the laws of our land. It raises the minimum age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. Because if you can't buy a beer, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun.
Wow, there's so much goodness there.
There's so much goodness. This is almost enough for an entire segment by ourselves. You know what? I revere the pressure to you, sir. You can lead us off. What do you find most appealing about that?
Well, there's just all sorts of funness in there. But one of the things I think is kind of funny, it's like this would permanently enshrine whatever it is we're trying to do in the Constitution. Yeah. Kind of like the Second Amendment permanently enshrines our constitutional right to keep and bear arms that you're trying to undo with the 28th Amendment.
It's irony at its finest, isn't it?
It's just unbelievable. And then he goes on to say, well, you can't even buy a beer at 18, so why should you be able to buy a gun? Well, the irony in that statement is at 18, the government will literally hand you a gun and send you off into a war zone to fight for the right to own a gun.
Tim,
maybe the solution here is to lower the drinking age to 18, not raise the...
Yeah.
What's that?
Exactly. No, exactly. You're on it. I knew you were going to bring the juice on that one.
Yeah.
That's the irony of this statement. And that's just one. Oh, God. The thing that you hit on right there, the first one that really struck out to me, because you hit on something that was really powerful in my opinion. If you can't be allowed to have a beer by the government at 18, why should you be allowed to have a gun at 18? The irony of that statement is you're utilizing the argument of power from the government restricting your rights to further restrict your rights. If the government already says you can't do this, why should you be able to do this? It's almost like the slippery slope argument actually exists. Isn't that weird?
It is weird. But the government just
odd.
loves doing that, especially government officials like old Gavin, because, it just seems like they wake up every morning and their whole purpose in life is to pass another law that further encroaches on our individual rights and liberties. And in this case, he doesn't even want to propose a law. He wants to propose a constitutional amendment. And he's right.
get
That's
it
no
everywhere.
small feat. That requires a lot of folks to come together and to support that. Does he have the support for that?
Goodness, no. Good Lord, no. And we're going to get into that clip because we got that one coming too. But you know something else before we move from this clip that really caught me, Tim?
What's that?
He said you have the right for freedom of fear.
Yeah.
Does that sound
I
something
missed that one.
similar to what they've been saying a whole lot? The freedom of fear. Kind of like what Kamala Harris said in that speech that we covered. The freedom to be and to fear and to be and to unite and be and see and dream and be.
Right.
Remember that one? Where she's
Yeah.
like, the freedom, what was it? Oh my goodness. Not to fear or safety was a civil right? Is that what she said?
We should probably kill all the spiders and snakes
Yeah.
because they scare me.
Yeah.
We have a right to live without fear. No matter how irrational our fear may be, we have a right to be
Exactly.
fear-free.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you know what, Tim? No, hold on. I got it. I think I got it. Have you ever seen the movie Equilibrium? Maybe they're just setting up for an emotion-killing drug. That way we're little robots and we don't need AI. And we can just make decisions without fear or because it's irrational after all. Maybe this is just a setup for Equilibrium. Maybe.
You never know.
Probably
What's going
not.
on in
More
a
likely.
highly polished head of his. I don't know.
I'm leaning more towards probably more so on the infringing of our rights versus the emotion-killing drug. But, hey, it's 2023. But let's see what else the Gavs has to say. The hair gel himself. Mr. Producer, could you hit number 3?
It mandates universal background checks to prevent truly dangerous people from purchasing a gun that can be used in a crime. It institutes reasonable waiting periods for all gun purchases, and it bans civilians from buying assault rifles, those weapons of war our founding fathers never foresaw. This will guarantee states as well the ability to enact common sense gun safety laws while leaving the Second Amendment intact and respecting America's gun-owning.
I don't even know
So,
where to start
Tim,
with that one.
Oh, I know. I got the great place. This is a great launching point because it can't be bad, Tim, because I saw hunters with shotguns and safety vests with dogs in big, wide open expanses. Therefore, it's clearly okay because hunting is obviously the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
You feel better?
Yeah. We need those constitutional, background checks and, all those other things that he's proposing there because all those things currently exist in California. And how has that worked out for California?
Well, you could go back to that first clip that we played. It's gonna happen. Whoa, time out. It's gonna happen. Gav, I thought you modeled the 28th Amendment after the California gun laws. What do you mean it's going to happen? That's not possible. I have a right to be freed from fear. I'm afraid.
He's really reaching for this one.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so bad.
But
the other thing. Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking. I mean, this has literally a snowball's chance in hell of getting anywhere.
Oh,
so
not even a snowball.
There
Maybe a
has to
snowflake.
be some other political agenda here. There's something else he's gunning for. Pardon the pun.
Yep.
100%. He's going for something else. What could that be?
Oh, you know what, Tim? Like a bloodhound. So let's walk this through. A hypothetical. Like I think you're onto something. And audience, you can let us know in the comments field if you think we're onto something here. But if you had an amendment and you were a governor of California and you really wanted to announce something and make a special difference, would you put out a 28th Amendment request that requires 2/3 of the House and the Senate to ratify it? Then it requires 3/4 of the state legislatures to actually codify it. Do you think that that's what you'd go with, or is there another purpose here, maybe? Especially when you line up, Kamala Harris was just tapped to be the leading voice of gun violence prevention for the campaign, and that clip that you're watching with the 28th Amendment is all DNC funded. Tim,
It's almost like maybe this guy's getting ready to run for president.
No. It's not like this could be a fundraising opportunity, could it?
It's kind of smacks of money and power. because it
And hair
has
gel.
no basis in practicality or even hope for him to getting this done. So he's certainly feeding some other agenda.
It's all about the why. It's always to the why. And even if you look at the actual verbiage of these amendments, or these points in the amendment, they literally uses the word reasonable, potentially universal. It's all completely vague. There is literally, Tim, I think you saying snowball's chance in hell is actually giving it too much credence. I think this has precipitation chance in hell. This doesn't even, it might not even get to hell. It might get stuck on Earth. It doesn't have a chance to get on the door. But again, that's a very appropriate point. Why? Why would they do this? So let's go to number 4, Mr. Producer, and let's see if we can find it.
And it ensures NRA-owned politicians can never strip those protections away. This fight won't be easy, and it certainly won't be fast. Convening a constitutional convention requires 2/3 of the states to call for this. California will be the first, but that's just the beginning.
Tim, it's a 28th Amendment. It's all about the gun violence epidemic and solving it. Why would there be a lot of B-roll of Gavin Newsom with American flags and doing marches in front of people with his family and picking up kids, and then saying it's just the beginning? Does that seem odd?
Not for him, no. It's, yeah. I think what we were saying earlier probably is true.
You think?
Yeah.
Literally, this is, hey,
it's just a cheap political ploy.
100%. We know Biden hasn't actually said he's, unconscious right now and he's going to go for president, but you never know. Things could change. But just in case, I'm going to have the 28th Amendment ready, and I'm going to have the B-roll stock footage ready. And also, California is just the first, and it is only the beginning, which is a Freudian slip, if you ask me, because the talk about the 28th Amendment, it is only the beginning because these people are way left on gun control. But that's for the audience to decide. But Tim, you know what? I'll read their comments. What do you think? In wrapping this up, how do you think this is going to end?
I think it's just grandstanding and silliness. It's going to go nowhere. I think any political aspirations he has outside of the state of California are also destined to go nowhere. But stranger things have happened.
Yeah. No, let's talk about that.
I mean,
he's hold on. No, that's good.
Well, I guess Mitt Romney's the left version of Mitt Romney, but he's like the far left version of Mitt Romney. It's just, he's a political buffoon that has his little pocket of support right there in California. And even that's frayed on the edges. He just barely withstood a recall.
It's true.
So
that's true.
He's going nowhere fast. And it's just him political pandering to what he thinks is his base.
So do you know what I think? I have a prediction. Tell me what you think of this.
Okay.
I think that he's positioning himself to be a secondary member of the executive branch, like a VP candidate or some sort of cabinet. Oh yeah. Or some sort of cabinet member. Because if like to your point, if you go after California, out of California straight to the presidency, you're not going to be able to pull that off. However, if you go from like a VP nod, or you go to like, secretary or gun czar in the cabinet, and then you could easily transition out of that because you're no longer the governor of California. I don't know.
Could be.
Just saying.
I can't see Biden walking away from Harris. That would be a little bit too much, I think. They're going to try to hold it together.
That'd be beautiful.
Despite the fact that most Democrats don't even like her either. But
she polls worse than Biden does.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
overall,
I don't know why that is. She's such a great orator, and she uses amazing Venn diagrams. It just, she can convey points like no other, public figure I've ever seen.
She has been to the border, Tim. Well, she's going to the border, but she's been to Europe.
Yeah, she hadn't been to Europe, but she's been to Europe now. So maybe she'll make her way down to the border as the borders are someday.
Maybe, but is she still the border czar though? Because now she's the leading voice of gun violence, Tim.
We just don't know. Inquiring minds, most people don't even really know what this administration's doing anyway. But they tweet a lot.
That's a good point, Tim.
They do
tweet a lot. But I mean, I guess where we land on this, Tim, in high level, there's a new 28th Amendment introduced. Gavin Newsom says, guns are gonna happen, but we're gonna do 28th Amendment anyway. And I mean, really, this has no chance. So why do it?
No, that's not introduced. It's just him lip flapping because it's going nowhere.
Well, but
he won't have the support of the states.
He introduced it. But he introduced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going nowhere.
It is.
At all.
He could announce his candidacy to go to Mars tomorrow. He's not getting there. I mean, the guy's just out of his mind.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
And drunk
but
on
I think
power.
I think that pretty much wraps up the 28th Amendment talk, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. If you guys would like
Puts
to
a
be part
bow
of
on
our... What's that?
Puts a bow on it.
Yeah, it puts a nice little bow on it. Speaking of bows, you can join our call-in show. You won't get a bow, but if you follow the link in the video description below, you can fill out the questionnaire. We'll contact you. We'll get you on the show. You can ask questions, or you can make a comment, and we can just have a really interesting conversation around whatever 2A issue you would like to talk about. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.